Hey everyone, happy Thursday. Good afternoon. It's 3 p.m. All right, well, I'm going to get started and introduce this whole thing while people start to roll in. Welcome to TAPtalks, where we talk with arts professionals who are former teens and now they're working in the arts. We want to talk about the path to their creative careers, specifically for a teen audience. But if you join and you're not a teen, stick around, because we all have something to learn, and, well, it's hashtag Quarantine Arts Pass. For those who don't know, Teen Arts Pass is a program for teens, and it's an initiative of Urban Gateways, an arts education organization here in Chicago. And what Teen Arts Pass is, teens can go and see live performances for only $5 at our 27 arts partners in the Chicago area. So live theater, music, dance for only $5. Awesome, right? And of course, there are no things to see right now because of the whole COVID-19 thing and stay-at-home thing. So we wanted to figure out a way to keep the creative energy going and do something else. So we're doing these TAP Talks every Tuesday and Thursday at 3 p.m. here on Instagram Live. Hashtag Quarantine Arts Pass. So today, I'd love to introduce Rachel Silvert. Rachel Silvert is an actor, singer, and storyteller originally from Northbrook, Illinois. Favorite credits include Par for the Corpse as Andy, Perfect Wedding as Judy, View Jest as Sarah Goldman, and Love Songs Are Weird, and Other Reasons I'm Single as herself, by herself. Rachel is also a founding member of BYOT Productions, a theater company that specializes in 24-hour theater festivals where she's directed, produced, acted, and stage managed. She also has a BA in music theater from American University. So, we've got some questions lined up, but if you have any questions as we go on, just hit that question box and ask away, and we'll do our best. So, let's bring on Rachel.
Hear me and see me now?
Yeah, we can.
Oh, sorry about that technical difficulty.
Hey, it's all right.
Made it work. Hello.
I'm going to put focus back on me for a second, caught you off guard. But great. So we're going to ask Rachel some questions. For those joining in, this is TAP Talks with Teen Arts Pass. And we just want to learn more about Rachel and what she does as an actor, singer, and storyteller. So Rachel, switching over to you now.
Yes, hello.
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 First, could you tell us a little bit about your current job?
Well, as a professional actor, that answer kind of changes depending on the day. Honestly, most actors, even those you might think of as professional actors who are like working constantly and maybe even might be famous, don't only do theater. They'll often do a lot of other different kinds of jobs because it is really hard to kind of support ourselves doing just the one thing. So actors these days diversify. So I am an actor, but in addition to that, I am a B'nai Mitzvah tutor, which means I teach kids the stuff they need to do for their bar and bat mitzvah. I am a standardized patient, which basically means I'm an actor for a medical school here in Chicago. And I am a server because why waste a good cliche if you don't have to? So those are my main jobs.
Great. So would you say that your skills as an actor permeate into other areas of your life? Like, how has your training in theater within all these different jobs and things that you do, would you say that has influenced you and made it?
Oh, absolutely. I think training as an actor is really helpful in almost any situation because when you train as an actor, you're training to listen to people, you're training to empathize with people, you're training to connect with them on a human level. And that's useful in especially definitely all the jobs that I have, but teachers, business people, creative people, engineers, they can literally every facet of the world. I think if you can listen and empathize and connect with people on a human level, you can do your job better. So a lot of customer service that I do, whether it's as a teacher or as a food service worker or whatever, I can use my training, my quick thinking that I learned, doing improv or whatever, to kind of strike up a conversation with somebody, connect to them, maybe serve them a dessert they weren't planning on buying when they walked in for dinner, or just really, connect on that human level and make everyone's experience a little bit neater or fun. I had one customer once at like 8 a.m. tell me how much of a morning person I was, and I was like, "Yep, that's my acting. That is literally my entire degree paid for." In that moment.
That's amazing. Would you? Well, okay. I have so many things that I want to ask you, Rachel.
Sure.
You wear many hats, but could you talk a little bit how you found yourself in this line of work as an actor and all the other things that you do?
Yeah. I grew up in a very theater-friendly family. We went to the theater all the time when I was a kid, but I'd never really considered it as a job, as something that I could do. It was always just something that I did for fun. I am not one of those people who are like, I knew I wanted to be an actor when I was 2. Didn't. And I went off to college, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life. I didn't have a major nailed down, didn't really know what I wanted to be when I grew up and all that. And I discovered that my acting classes were the ones that were my theater-related classes, not even when I was on stage, were the ones that made me happiest. They're the ones that made me feel interested and engaged. And so I decided to give it a go. I had done theater in high school. I had done it when I was a kid, but it wasn't until about halfway through college that I was like, I guess I could maybe do this for my job. Why not? Let's try it. And I really haven't looked back. Making a living at it, though, can be really hard. And so all of my day jobs I've just kind of found as I went along. I've taught in synagogues, like Hebrew school, a lot because I could, because I know the language and I know the stuff that gets taught there. I was a mad scientist for a while. I taught after-school science programs, and these are just things that I found along the way and could do and could make flexible so that I could keep pursuing acting. So.
Cool.
It's a lot of like word of mouth helping people too. I have a lot of friends who have gotten me jobs, and I've gotten them. We recommend each other to things when we're looking.
That brings up my next point. Since, right now we're here in Chicago, would you say that Chicagoans treat this whole arts thing in a different way than other places you've been? Because you went to school out of state.
Yeah, I went to school in DC, and DC is a really good theater town, and some people say it might be surpassing Chicago, but I disagree, because I think the community here in Chicago is so welcoming and so wonderful and warm, and everybody does a little bit of everything. It's very versatile. I've never been in such a welcoming audition room as the audition rooms I walk into in Chicago, where people are waiting around to be seen, sometimes all day. It can be very grueling, but they're so warm and so welcoming, and everybody is there to kind of lift each other up. And I don't think you get that as much in like New York on Broadway, in LA, in some other of these really big theater towns. I love the community here in Chicago. I think we're wonderful. I think we do really interesting work, and I think the people are wonderful.
I love hearing that. That brings me to my next question. We actually got something from someone from our teen council earlier today. Do you ever get tired of auditioning to become Does it get to be too much on occasion?
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes it's a real grind. I think last year I there was a stretch of time I did like 16 auditions in less than 4 weeks. In addition to like all of my other jobs, and it was like a month, I think it was February, and I just hit a wall. It was too much. The problem with that though is that 90% of an actor's job is actually auditioning. We if When we get to perform and when we get to be in a TV episode or a play or something, that's like even more awesome and you know what we all want to be doing, but most of the job is auditioning. And so I had to kind of figure out a way to make my peace with that, because when I was younger, I hated it. It got me stressed out. I never felt like I did a good job. I never was happy with what I was doing in the audition room. And that's just unsustainable, because I have to be auditioning in order to get a job, right? So it's finding that balance between allowing yourself to have those feelings of anxiety, because of course you're human and you feel what you feel. And there's a lot of vulnerability in doing what we do, and there's a lot that's out of our control. But the other side of that, the other, needle we have to thread is taking it as an opportunity to perform, right? We're going in, we're doing our stuff, we've prepared, we do it as well as we can, and we leave it all there in the room, and then we walk out into the sunshine, or, Chicago, so whatever weather we're having, and go on to the next opportunity and try not to stress so much out about it. But yeah, it can be tiring.
So I'm going to have some follow-up questions about self-care and how you manage to get through auditions that maybe it doesn't end up in a project. Like, how do you deal with that? But
yeah.
Before we get there, think on that, I want to know, what are some projects that you've been working on that you're excited about, or things that you've done in the past that, just come to mind?
Yeah.
And really quickly, for those joining us, this is TAPtalks, where we talk to arts professionals. And today we are having some technical difficulties, so we are improvising, as one is to do in the theater.
Yes. I am mostly auditioning right now. So even though we're in self-isolation, even though we're in this weird new world, I am taping auditions and sending them out to different theaters and casting directors and things like that. So that's what I'm working on right now. A few months back, I worked on this really fun project with some friends of mine who are wonderful. I met them on a play, in a play that I had done this past summer. And it was a play about, it was a rom-com. So, there were romantic struggles and people meeting people, and the people that I worked on, my castmates, were just really lovely, wonderful actors and humans, and we became very close. And one of them wrote a script, a short, 10-minute short film that we all got together and then filmed a few months back, and it was so much fun. We basically got to play heightened versions of ourselves at a cast party, and it was so cool to get together and create work with wonderful artists who were also my friends. So that was great.
We've had another guest on the show who said that, to get work, you have to be kind to people and make friends. Do you think there's some truth to that?
Absolutely. The world, it is small, and it is even smaller in the theater arts world, and it is even smaller in the Chicago theater arts world. Everybody somehow seems to know everybody. So beyond just being kind as an act of humanity, in our day-to-day lives, we want to, I think one of the most important things, and sometimes even courageous things to do as a human, is to be kind to other humans. We don't know what's going on in their lives. Everyone's got swirly worlds going on, and so really, whenever possible, you want to be kind. On top of which, this business, again, is based on relationships and based on on building those relationships and maintaining them. And I can't tell you how many casting directors, even in the last month, I've heard from that say that you could knock your audition out of the park, and if you're a terrible person to work with, you're not going to get the job, or you'll get the job once and you won't get asked back. You want to be a pleasant person to work with. You want to be a helpful person to work with. As an actor especially, I am the solution to somebody's problem, right? Someone has a problem, they need to fill a role, and I want to be that solution. And if I am a terror to work with, I'm not going to get the job because I'm not going to solve as many problems as I create.
Wise words. So not only is Rachel a actor and a singer, which we have not touched on yet, and we need to, but she also helped found a theater company. So we're talking about being nice people and challenges, but I want to hear a little bit more about that experience, and if there's anything you'd like to share as far as what you learned or why it happened in the first place. Like, was there a need for it?
Yeah, there are so many storefront theaters in Chicago. It's wonderful in that there's so many groups of people getting together and doing different kinds of work. And I think that's one of the reasons Chicago theater is so great, is because there are all these scrappy little storefronts doing new work. And so sometimes it can be really hard to understand why a theater company needs to begin, because there are so many others. But I think that if you have a group of people who are coming together with a intent and a project in mind, and they want to create a certain kind of work, then by all means have at it. And that's really what BYOT was, especially at the beginning when we all got started. It started off as someone's pet project, and it kind of grew, and it was really formed into its current entity by a group of people who were excited about a project, specifically 24-hour theater festivals, and wanted to make sure that it continued. And it was a lot of hard work, and it's but honestly, it's BYOT is one of the only theater companies who does what it does. So it really is filling that role in the theater world here in Chicago, and it has attracted wonderful people, wonderful artists who have gone on to create other things and grow the company. And I am really proud of BYOT.
Wonderful. I had to acknowledge that because that's how we met.
It's true.
So, do you have any role models in your line of work?
Oh yeah. I have people I definitely look up to in this world and in the city. Do you want me to name them?
Feel free, yeah. I'd love to hear some of that.
There's a woman her name is Danielle Pinnock. She now lives in LA. She moved out there a few years ago, and she's killing it in the game. And she was a monologue coach for me. And she's so such an inspiration to me, because she really has taken this business and just she creates things, and she makes things happen, and she sets her sights on what she wants, and she really just manifests it. If you've ever seen on Instagram, #booked, like, she's behind that Instagram account, and it's brilliant. There's so many people, friends of mine, who I was saying that, like, the audition room is really warm and welcoming in Chicago. I have a friend of mine who we've never actually worked together, but we met in audition rooms, and then we took a class together, and she just was the lead role in Hedda, Tuda Theater's production of Hedda Gabler. And she was wonderful, and she really is just this inspiring, creative person. Really just people who are lovely, and creating art are inspiring to me. So, yay.
Good answer. So, all right. So we've talked a lot about your working life, which that's what this is all about, right?
Yeah.
But this is also with a teen program, Teen Arts Pass. So we want to know, what were you like as a teen, Rachel?
Oh, it feels cliche to say I was an awkward geek, but I was an awkward geek. I was in choir, and I was a ballerina. So most of what I did when I wasn't in school, I was in dance class. I loved school. Even though by the end of high school, I started to say I didn't like it anymore. For some reason, I don't know why. I thought that would make me feel better about all the work I had to do, but I really did enjoy school. Just like the learning of it. The politics of high school, I can take or leave. But a lot of these things are still true about me. I was a Harry Potter geek. I would hide behind my bed when I was rereading the series in case my dad would come up the stairs and find me in my room rereading the series. Yeah, I had a few really good friends. I still have some of them. And yeah, I had braces for a while. I was very awkward. I didn't really know a lot about the world, at age 16 and 17, but we made it. We're still here.
That's the important part.
Yeah.
What would you attribute your success to?
That's really hard to say, because my definition of success changes a lot. And I think that is true of a lot of my fellow artists, and I think that is true of a lot of the world lately, as we're all just kind of figuring out our way through the situation of our existence right now. But I'm very lucky to have two of the most supportive parents in the business. My parents come to everything, and only sometimes freak out about my lack of a real person job. And I have wonderful friends. I think if you are lucky enough to have people in your life who support you even on your worst days, who are there to remind you of the good things, then that's the luckiest you can be. And it doesn't have to be people that you came into the world with. It can be people you find along the way. And I think my stubbornness to not give up is also part of the mix too. It's really easy to get discouraged in the arts world. So you need a little bit of that healthy, nope, not going to give up, not today, not tomorrow, it's not going to happen, to help you get to where you want to be.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Are there any challenges that you've had to overcome in the last 2 years?
Yeah, I think there's always I joke with some colleagues every so often that we choose this life of uncertainty, right? We choose a career where a lot of what we do is not in our control. And so learning how to control what I can, how to make sure that I am putting myself into a routine and doing the work and taking the classes and practicing what I can practice, so that when I go into an audition, I am ready and solid. That's been a little bit of a journey these last couple of years, because throwing all that spaghetti on the wall, hoping that one piece will stick, can get really exhausting. And so learning how to find that balance, I think, has been a big journey of my last couple of years.
Great. Well, we are getting close to time, so if anyone has any questions, feel free to drop that below. But we have a few more too, so no pressure. Rachel, do you have any advice for teenage Rachel? Is there anything you'd want to tell her?
Oh, for teenage Rachel. Oh, I'm gonna cry. I think the thing that I want teenage Rachel to know is that it's not silly, this dream, that she can be, and I didn't even have this dream necessarily when I was a teenager. When I was a teenager, I was still more dancing than doing theater, and I had kind of convinced myself that I wasn't going to be a professional dancer. I was never going to be a professional dancer, but had already started talking to myself about how that wasn't really, it was only ever going to be a hobby. And so I think the thing that teenage Rachel and also 30-year-old Rachel should hear more often is that it's okay to dream big, and it's okay to say those words out loud, and it's okay to believe in something and not necessarily know how it's going to happen and how you're going to get there. But if you want to, and if you want to put in the work, then do it. So.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. I know that looking back can be kind of hard sometimes, especially right now when there's a lot of time to think, it seems like. And so, final question, is there any advice you would give to teens who might want to pursue a similar career, or just any advice at all that you would want to share?
Yeah. A lot of people say that if you can imagine yourself doing anything else, don't go into theater. And I think that is a very well-meaning piece of advice, but I also think it's wrong. It's not an easy path, but I think it's wonderful. And I think as long as you're having fun doing this stuff, then absolutely follow your heart and follow that passion. I think, that being said, don't stop learning. Like, the more stuff you know, the more you can bring to your art. If something is interesting to you, learn about it. If you really like that science class, keep taking science. You'll find a way to put that into your art. If you really like history, if you really like, taking apart your microwave and putting it back together, that's awesome. And you will find things to do with that passion. And if you want to do artistic things with that passion, you'll make it work. I think, I think there's advice in there somewhere. I lost the thread.
No, that was wonderful. Thank you. All right, well, we have hit our mark, so I'm going to close out the show. Thank you so much, Rachel.
My pleasure.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
All right, well, thank you, everyone, for joining us on this episode of TAPtalks, where we meet every Tuesday and Thursday at 3 p.m. on Instagram Live. Worry not if you were not able to tune in today. I will be posting this later. And on Tuesday, our next guest is Eric Kaiko. He is an arts marketing professional who currently specializes in theater. Right? Thanks, and have a great Thursday.